Hello, Young Legion, Connecticut, CCSU, all the campuses, UConn. You know, this is why you aren't following mandated law. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. The only counters we have to the crazy things, the crazy identity of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures, are through what is keeping it methodically. Blamed to use where we have things unfathomed, private, you can't defend the quality of fact, cheaping nature that pretends it's logical to have those standards, those natures, not blaming things and real causes of things on other things, even though those things like money are juxtaposed, real. Motivations, natures, needs, interests, roles, persuasions, uses of persuasions over originally still. Wethersfield campuses of each age demonstrated, confessed, and recorded how campuses intercities and all natures of identities of the ground are involved with the database racketeering. That is also sequence racketeering. That is vertical and horizontal. They put a whole bunch, now Wethersfield Police Department has a whole bunch of people with police forms for a whole bunch of foreign and domestic where they have the right to lie in statutes used for racketeering originally and still used for where they don't have the right to lie. And they're pretending passions, emotions, and backgrounds, and like in media, while they're offensively preventing mandated law, they're hiding behind how like DACA is used with racketeering on and off each age of campus in city tie. Now this is how UConn has a whole bunch of people. I never even went there. A whole bunch of people involved with racketeering, with police forms also involved with actual drugs racketeering rules, as the only people allowed to counter such, because they're also with crimes with a whole bunch of don't like the people associated with mental health care, the people associated with addiction and things like that. They've been using those are people associated with courts and with prisons. The doctors with the prisons are also involved with crimes with their prisoners and patients before they're in there. Their uses of Facebook is recorded and involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with a whole bunch of nations keeping themselves criminal uses of areas that has nothing to do with the nations they represent. There and here we have former director of the F.B.I. down involved with a whole bunch of criminal uses of kids in my grades growing up. Of that, I never had conversations. They paint everyone to fake conversations, fake locations. When that's not the case, they're painting everyone to fake words, fake ties to other in relationship to that, and they're putting sequence shifts, sequence racketeering. There were a whole bunch of people associated with on and off campus and all over. People have jobs of all different industries. Before they have those communications, the people involved with that were investing everyone speaking through others. Uses of statutes criminally. In other words, investing to only let people realize the interbranch, maintain crime rolls with what kept and keeps each modern nation's legal stewards of all levels criminally foreign influenced, standing lie, progression, cover-up natures of branches of the identities of the branches individually grouped and together. That means they're crime actors as the Wethersfield Police Department, as other executive, as the branch individually grouped together, as the political families from mayors up and down, and courts of various natures and their family members, prosecutors, victims advocates involved with racketeering with evidences where they're forcing mandated law not allowed followed in relationship to what kept and keeps disputes about things peacefully through the way we have peaceful means, writing. We have that confined as a quality of fact treatment nature that is keeping peaceful means in collusion with his overtly sick victim predators. Everyone's a victim predator opinion nature recorded through this vertical and horizontal identity racketeering theft roles, sequence racketeering. They have also KKK themed, Confederate flag themed undercover roles with the other nations, with our side involved with the racketeering with databases. Other natures and uses of drugs crimes with all the interbranch that are supposed to be against it. If they're using it per their roles with the force sustained sexual and other natures abuses of the youngest kids. And this is also how they enforced not the demonstrated uses of women criminally interbranch. Because they had no, you can't speak about women's value honestly, but from a tactically denatured relationship to nature. In other words, there is no care for how this tactically denatured relationship to nature is impositions upon women simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly from men and boys and girls. So we have interbranch family members involved in their kids. They already invested themselves needing to hide life aggressions because they were already involved, former director of the F.B.I. down, New Britain Superior Court through time, attaching little kids to fake locations, fake words, with the other branches of government. A whole bunch of people with the name Dillon, with military police, and with foreign and domestic military, on and off CCSU racketeering roles. And again, with the uses of boys and girls, criminally, every modern nation, sickly distinctly, but sickly non-distinctly too. So we have sick fake punks that are reliant upon differences between our nations, not by accident, self-cultivated, self-valued, propagated, self-valued all roles, until motivations, natures, needs, interests, all juxtaposed, real, but not really why they're hiding their life aggressions when people need to have free speech. So, Wethersfield, the police department has a Sammy Vega, a whole bunch of police forms, interbranch, on, off, Town Line Drive, locations with that involved with racketeering, with the shared policing of locations used for very sick, evil things, boxings. A whole bunch of people tied to Mike Pandoff, and to women associated with the F.B.I. in New Haven, and with triage places associated with probate courts, families, and district courts, and superior courts, and court buildings on off the state judicial branch offices leading up to a 2006 district court case, with those other cases and police forms interbranch having been involved, pretending to perceive things and pretending to record things. They also facilitated me to know someone so they could pretend with someone that she doesn't even, she knows, but then in other words, there are people associated with the Scalora family who are involved with narratives pretending to be fake locations with judges and with police forms intercities behind my back, and as people associated with extended family members of a Colello family, like a Phil Colello, also involved with a whole bunch of people at CCSU and involved with racketeering, identity thefts, roles. Jen Socia. See, they're victims though, but they're victim predators because they're also involved with like the Scalora family, Del Fair family. People involved with various, there's a Judge Killian. There are other people involved with sexual abuses of little kids. Uses of Facebook roles with interbranch Facebook pages. Doctors involved with evidence fabrications with various natures of courts through time. And with people who are, forging names, switching names of doctors, attaching people to fake conversations with them. Attaching people to fake conversations weren't at all. And about CIA, FBI, they pretend they have conspiracy theories, like, for example, Russians and Americans are involved with shared policing with guys who have badges who are doctors of psychology, involved with a whole bunch of symptoms that they have prescribed as mental symptoms of mental diagnosis that they're used and already have used for racketeering with Justice Department, the equivalent in other nations like Russia. These are also people on and off Fox Connecticut News. Hundreds they're involved with identity thefts, fake conversations with people, fake ties to people. In other words, two domain families, their family members involved with all kinds of racketeering with CIA, FBI, people on and off Fox Connecticut News. Allison Mulcahy, her neighbors, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with crimes with judges and with prosecutors. A whole bunch of people with Maria Fazina and a Stephen Stocco. Recorded, confessed, involved interstates crimes also with a whole bunch of people tied to a Paul Zano family and his extended family members. Involved racketeering with evidence racketeering, falsified police reports, roles with that, per the police themselves, per the schools themselves. Now they also have two speech teachers I have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with this, which is also racketeering with Washington, D.C., Pentagon, Trade Center, tied to corners of the streets. And also that's with a whole bunch of people with WTNH, WFSB, and Fox CT, Intercities, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering acts with databases, and with child sex offenders, and with doctors, and with a whole bunch of police departments, fire departments, and intercampuses involved racketeering with other nations. So they keep what they're using for evidences, and they keep their styles of fighting each other fake sides, and where that's peace in relationship to where we actually need to counter the negative value nature progressions with all the elements set where they can be just connected for biological terrorism, for nuclear wars, for any kind of war. It's psycho. Where we have machines now, but we have tactically denatured force with the torture and slavery of our founders, self-valued, glorified, tactically denatured relationship to nature, to means, one way redeems. We have a lot of punks with a lot of money talking about who's other. These are people that fit all the roles, pretending to perceive things and pretending to record things and sequence racketeering. A whole bunch of people with a Gill family are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of police forms on and off CCSU, training of them, state police involved with child sex offenders, medical offenders of children, with judges, with prosecutors, with their family members, with fire departments, entrenched with other nations, checking whatever they have. See, and this is from tactically worse than semi-unsafe, pathology of infrastructure of means to afford it, means to afford. Forget about it. It's not you have to be a sick delusion. What actually is, and criminally foreign influence factory nature style to justify the pathology of infrastructure, but not by accident. We have the identities of the sciences like American history valued, told through criminal sentences. Now, our American, our founders' course and how they didn't have free speech, glorified, pretended just because they put up the surface value of the Constitution, they have free speech. I can't imagine anything else. That's because we have criminally foreign influenced identities of law. How this is maintained is a vertical and horizontal database racketeering method. Before my high school was involved with this, already had and has live progressions and actually recorded natures needing to keep that. They're actually need to keep everyone for correlation. They have each of the types of sciences to types of jobs that are, reliant upon types of sciences, but the sciences share an identity. And that is being maintained, obfuscated by a whole bunch of opinion natures through what it takes with, all value systems are reliant upon propagated, never liberated, but everyone told us to pretend we're free. We don't have free speech. And what they're doing, they have a whole bunch of people invested with interbranch family members of other natures of racketeering. All victims, but all victim predators. So Wethersfield Police Department has a whole bunch of people interbranch who are involved. So I don't want to use the name of the people I don't know, but the people I barely know. There are police forms associated with uses of people tied to Jennifer Kennepicky and her mother is involved with some judges and with a Mayano family involved with interbranch racketeering with them, with police forms too, foreign and domestic military also, and overt criminal enterprises, and sequence racketeering. Now, in the past, when they had a guy they beat, in other words, they have fake news that they have the rights to do, but they have been using that already for racketeering that led up to the Trade Center, and in it for the interbranch roles, former director of the F.B.I. down, other CIA, their family members down, involved with all natures of racketeering with age of fact-shaping nature. They keep people in the background pretending passions, emotions, while they're preventing anything in writing through time. I just remind. That's why that's why and how it's important to be able to counter, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they have prosecutors with their kids, and how they have interbranch family members, even judges, women judges, investing themselves in the backgrounds and into records, preventing mandated law and stealing people's identities and sequence shifting, and way worse. No, it's all rehearsed because they're all recorded, confessed. A whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. A whole bunch of more people involved with child sex offenders and with medical offenders and with overt criminal enterprises and criminal uses of people associated with what was DACA in the past, whatever it is now, shared policing of stores. A whole bunch of people with the name Jerry Kerr, Jerry Miller, recorded, confessed also with police forms intercity through time, associated with prosecutors and judges, also criminal, foreign, and domestic, overt criminal enterprise, drugs used for other natures of crimes, identity racketeering, identity thefts tied to a Cianfaglione family, and to people with a Demoro family, associated with a whole bunch of people associated with like programs with DACA. Marketing intercampus, intercity, facilitated racketeering roles with evidences. Everyone put on fake things. They're forging names, switching names. This is intercities tie. Then they use deans and stuff like this. Is through time they're keeping roles with from off campuses, sustained criminally foreign influence campuses from off campuses. So then people start fighting. They want that so they can pretend they're going to solve it. Because the various natures of courts and their family members, they're victim predators. So how everyone was kept victim predators takes mandated law. So they need to pretend that they have integrity. They know they don't, while they're preventing mandated law. And they know that I have the actual them. They actually recorded themselves with CCSU, with sequence racketeering, self-confessed, with offensive evidence perception and reception racketeering, with black and white and interreligious, also involved with that, with opinion natures that wouldn't lie if you asked them the questions right. Because they're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, they were facilitated to offensive evidence perception and offensive evidence reception racketeering acts roles. Mail crimes, all such on-off CCSU keeps criminally foreign influence state police. Criminally foreign influence roles and uses of the businesses around WFSB and around Fox CT involved. Around WTNH, which is on-off. F.B.I. involved racketeering with wire crimes. People with AT&T involved. and you know, these are offensive evidence reception and perception racketeering roles, which what really is American history is about. And these are mandated law prevention roles. It's all right if you want to talk about debatable, if you want to fight, but pick one name spelling, one name and sequence, because we have judges forging and switching names, even female judges forcing child sex offenders originally and still. They're forcing these sustained crimes also through time with a whole bunch of people tied to a Joshua Julian, who was recorded and confessed involved with identity theft with the extended family members and the daughter of the F.B.I. director's co-defendant and other co-defendants that were involved with kids with my school who were involved, recorded themselves involved racketeering with databases. See, we have maintaining criminally foreign influence identities of the law to keep them live progressions from each database. We had to keep suits and ties locked as that stupid. Now we have further natures of gun crimes and bug spray crimes because now they're little sick punk coward fakes as recorded. That's not personal. That's what's recorded. They're forging names because they can't speak. They have 2 Mendez police. They have a whole bunch of names from my town involved racketeering fake conversations with me. Because when they were kids, they had the same thing, crimes with a whole bunch of retired and standing judges with them. Further involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering. A whole bunch of people tied to a Leahy family also. Fake conversation with me. With his roles with all kinds of natures of drug crimes, formal and gangs drugs. And with their evidence racketeering with a whole bunch of people at New Britain Superior Court. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they stacked names to pretend that quantity of people telling lies means they don't all realize it. They all realize it. They all needed to pretend someone else told them something they can't believe is not true. That's why they're forging names and switching names. They're preventing mandated law. They're forcing sustained the High Crest School is reported, confessed, and demonstrated. There's a whole bunch of people with CCSU and with the Wethersfield police chief and with a former principal's daughter when I went there, who has a whole bunch of like a guy who's supposed to reportedly apparently her husband, and she has a past boyfriend involved with racketeering with databases. With a whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court and on and off the state prison offices, with sequence racketeering, with pretending to perceive things and pretending to record things. Like a Harris family also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with medical racketeering with the child sex offenders cliques, with the drug uses cliques. And these are people with former director of the F.B.I. down, crime acts rules leading up to and in the Trade Center attack, leading up to and in Connecticut cases further. Proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack showed post-dated documents to the panel of judges. That proven then led to part of a 2006 case in Connecticut District Court with former director of the F.B.I. and a whole bunch of his federal criminal co-defendants and my extended family members having been used as victim predators through also Middletown, a bunch of racketeering with each age of factory with each through time, a whole bunch of prison cliques that run these prisons each age of factory, and people associated with the elderly homes and such, all kinds of racketeering with probate courts families because with the drugs mostly, like a Delafair family involved with a whole bunch of men and women on and off the New Haven F.B.I. and fire departments already criminally involved also with Russians, election crimes because they're racketeering roles. A whole bunch of people, they switched their names. They implied they were Chris Walters and a Kerr family. Now these are people also recorded, confessed racketeering with offensively. They were influenced to offensively pretend to perceive and record things, so the courts could pretend to perceive things and make time uses where they make mistakes on purpose and they keep stacking federal crimes against each age of fact treatment nature. Now, these are people also with Washington, D.C., racketeering with Chris Walters, with houses on Church Street, with what they call the intelligence community, and with a house at the end of it. Also with a whole bunch of racketeering at CCSU, and with on-off UConn, on-off each of the campuses of each age connected. We have some really sick uses of students, training of them too, and all kinds of contractual racketeering against all the patients, and criminal uses of lawyers originally, and still fake signs of correlation nature, sequence racketeering rules, which also they in other words, there was a whole bunch of people that confessed and recorded. There's a boxer, I don't know, I never had a conversation, Pito Cordona. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, associated with people with the name Cintron, which is the last name of my town's police chief, has a daughter, has her foreign extended family, Italian, and I guess Puerto Rican, involved with them, with racketeering, with evidences, with all kinds of natures of even kids' courts and prisons cliques, real sick with doctors against them. See, originally still we have psychology with physical delusions, criminal form, racketeering rules with the branches where their crime natures individually grouped together. There are crime methods individually grouped together. Those crime methods are recorded. How they're maintained, motivated is recorded. So we need mandated law follow. You need to understand that and how these Puerto Rican cliques are involved with crimes against their own, and why they're how they're so charged. Oh, how could I be against my own? I wrapped in a Puerto Rican flag. There's a bad kid with these prison cliques. He's undercover with what's his name? Sammy Vega, involved with CCSU, uses of him, all the way down. The highest people we have interbranch, their family members, criminal uses of each of the departments of these campuses, per fact treatment nature racketeering, method exploiting the nature of volume what we are. It's originally still for self-valued, propagated criminally foreign influence. You can't defend that identity and pretend to be free at the same time. So they cultivate that certain nature of fake. CT must break. We need federal stewardships of it. We need to have the mandated law followed. You have to understand the natures of elections racketeering, locations racketeering are involved against whoever wins too. They don't have free speech allowed. And when they say president should pretend integrity, they don't have. That wasn't recorded and involved with how they distinctly and non-distinctly prevented Barack Obama, President Obama, chief, more importantly, from free speech, chief, more importantly, because truth is native pure, the one that reveals evolution's fruits and gifts. It means when we redeem, this does not work without the ground. What is actual science does not work without the real reason why we have water as a value. See, we have everything, we're in a trap. Now one must rap, but everyone won't follow the mandated law. They're using, they're recorded with uses of Nipsey Hussle, paintings of him, and those narratives with the shared policing of the locations, like with the facades of the buildings, this little shopping plaza for this area. That's racketeering rules. With database, vertical, horizontal, identity racketeering rules. Everyone speaking to others. You know, it's easy to want to fight when you know the courts are going to back you. When you know the police are going to back you. When you know all the criminally foreign influence military is going to back you. Identity racketeering, sequence racketeering, sustained mandated law thefts. I didn't ask them to invest themselves using those programs. They have a whole bunch of people associated with Rocky Hill locations, all intercity locations with these CCSU. they're being influenced to it from their roles with directors, recorded, confessed, involved with the racketeering with the database clicks private and interbranch juxtaposed. So it's worse because now they're being coached how to hide it with the private with the interbranch criminal uses of the only social locations, not by accident, involved with identity racketeering, identity theft. A whole bunch of people tied to New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts involved racketeering acts leading up to and in the Trade Centers Act. Forget about it. People with all the boxing gyms recorded. They share identities here and there. Nothing as law, not free. So don't pretend to be about American. Well, because you made money. Little undercover sides, fake sides. Follow mandated law if you want to worry about their safety, because you're not. They're maintaining a method of torture of leaders that originally still has them negotiate with worse than negotiate with terrorism. Everyone spread out so they could hurt them over there, and blame the wrong things for it. All fake sides blaming, pretending they are not one identity of nations, let even freedom of religion. Offensively, they have all the interreligious fakes. A whole bunch of people associate, I think it's the name Mogman, excuse me if I get it wrong, I never had a conversation with her. She's involved with fake sides of, they told me to go down to a place. So he'd come around the corner with a bat and pretend, like, in other words, that I had known he was going to be down there. It was my volition to go down there. Like this Mike Kerr. I never tried to contact him. And the people that he told me that were involved with the racketeering with them, they also confessed and recorded it. This is a person and his brothers, there was a Jerry Kerr who was involved with racketeering with people on and off Fox Connecticut News, locations on and off it, involved with racketeering with police forms and with judges, retired and standing. And he has a son, Jerry Kerr, who was involved with the John DeMorrow, through time with the shared policing of the stores. And then he has a brother, Joe DeMorrow, and he has a Joe DeMorrow cousin from Rocky Hill. That now they're both directly and indirectly involved with racketeering with CCSU through time, with people with UConn through time involved with racketeering, a whole bunch of ways, sequence shifting, saying different things. And they record that, like with area, and then after they already say other things. And then they're preventing mandated law because these are a whole bunch of people with New Britain Superior Court that are racketeering acts and cases, criminal uses of their databases, criminal uses of forging names, switching names, falsified police reports. They're hiding behind like how they're supposed to hide about shared policing because those other nations recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They don't even realize it. But racketeering acts rolls with the House/S in my area with people that they made confessions and demonstrations about. They also made confessions about sick things. Like a Claudia Scalora said she had sex with her cousin, reportedly a Joe DeMorrow, one from Wethersfield. Now these are ones intercities, on and off Hartford Hospital with drug cliques and with like prostitution cliques and stuff like that, involved with the police forms. Now these are also involved with drug racketeering and stuff like that, where they're using that to maintain a crime method where they have the reactions of boys and girls, distinct and non-distinct, exploited, where everyone speaks through others, and they exploit that for racketeering of evidences. And they keep lie progressions needed vertically and horizontally. For example, a whole bunch of ways Wethersfield, the police department, is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with other nations criminally, when pretending programs are just programs, like pretending that they have the rights to laws by criminally hiding how they've been evidence racketeering acts in cases through time, pretending morality in backgrounds, like a Judge Killian recorded with physical delusions and racketeering acts rules with child sex offenders, with the principal sex offender even of the youngest kids, and that's with the Wethersfield police chief's daughter and extended family also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. These are doctors' crimes with their patients and criminals before they were in there. They were crimes with them. They were spreading lies with overt criminal enterprises with a Joshua Julian also involved with identity thefts, identity racketeering. Then they pretend things like, oh, it's just boxing stuff. No, I was an independent fighter. There are also people that pretended, that asked, like, no, but a bunch of people are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with offensive evidence racketeering, perception, pretending to perceive things, and pretending to record things. Like someone asked me one time if I fought out of, like, officially out of, I did, but as an independent fighter, I used to go to different gyms out of the San Juan Center. Because there were a whole bunch of people with the San Juan Center involved with racketeering with police forms, with Justice Department racketeering originally still, with DACA program, with name stacking, where everyone's speaking to other, and you're either going to react, you're going to ignore things, and they're going to exploit that. Otherwise people react. I mean, I just mind my own business, exploit things. So why you mind your business? Because there were rape threats and confessions since before they caught the principal sex offender. They were forcing him. That's what's actually recorded. The Britain Superior Court laws is. These are people involved through time with sequence racketeering and confessions and demonstrations. They spread lies with overt criminal enterprises. These are crime acts rules with the transition from ACA to RICO, where they kept and keep our former director of the F.B.I. and our new directors recorded easily criminally foreign influence, misprision, self-defenses of that, criminal uses of statutes, precedents, criminally foreign influence, sick. CT is stick. Now I would like to not, like white family. There are F.B.I. with also recorded and confessed, a whole bunch of people tied to a Spada family, and by Eric Jensen and other people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved further with the child sex offenders cliques, like a Phil Colello, and with these two Mendez police, falsified police reports, fake conversations with me. Interbranch crimes on off they had him in the hallway right when I got out of jail. I have no criminal record. They arrested me for trying to report. I didn't even get to finish reporting. All kinds of confessions and demonstrations of their crime acts rules with the child sex offenders proven and further recorded. Their family members involved with further racketeering with the kids, drugs, criminal uses of shared policing, like through locations and roles with Stop and Shop, and through time, like there used to be at Caldors, and Ames. These shared policings of places, on off Fox Connecticut News, on off WFSB, a whole bunch of people associated with them, with racketeering, actual racketeering, but pretending, also the crime method of pretending it's just undercover rights, but they're falsifying police reports. Their needs to this are also recorded, tied to the vertical and horizontal databases, the crime methods where they make confessions and demonstrations of their roles with overt criminal enterprises really used for that, originally still, fake sides of nations. Those overt criminal enterprises of different sides of nations, they're just identity of the ground, roles as in nature of volume exploited, kept needing to hide the same sequence shift, finite, active, and progressive lies with the various natures of courts. They don't even realize it. Sick. So they're going forward pretending they have the rights to have the integrity to have elections. We already have the people involved with East Hartford, involved intercities, involved racketeering with the congressional building.
And with criminal uses, various natures of courts, on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices, through time, racketeering with databases, uses of their live progressions tied to that. Categorically, then leading up to and in the trade sector contacts from this state, interstates, were also Washington criminally involved with the investigators of it. More predicate acts, trade center predicate acts, more CIA, FBI racketeering roles, acts, and uses of child sex offenders, even the sex offender principal, especially if they made that up, recorded and confessed and demonstrated, involved more sex crime acts, criminal uses of Facebook pages, interbranch with that, had that originally forced by New Britain Superior Court, attaching little kids to fake locations through time, attaching their family members to fake locations, sick people, real sick people, men and women tied to this Joshua Julian. A whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, demonstrated they attached me to fake conversations with wrestling teachers. I never had a conversation with these wrestling teacher guys. These are also people involved racketeering with the prosecutors and the courts spreading lies through kids for their own personal criminal reasons through time, vertically and horizontally. It's way worse. The sequence racketeering from the past is tied to they had kids like come back so they can pretend to record things on campus. But on paper they graduated a different year because they're using time all way too fast, too slow for this. This other method with fact treatments, with mandated law, not law followed. We have interbranch family members needing to hurt little kids still, right through administrations. Need to hurt each age of fact treatment nature. All rise.